We're so pleased to share today's second segment with our friends at Southwest Virginia Ballet. I'm honored to welcome Artistic Director Pedro Szalay and former Executive Director and current Board President Nancy Kelderhouse to the episode, as we bask in ballet and learn more about the incredible opportunities for dancers in our region to take the stage in a variety of ways. Pedro, Nancy, thank you so much for being on our show today. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, thank you. So Nancy, according to current Executive Director Sarita Combs-Canada, not only are you a longtime volunteer and former company parent, but I hear you might have seen the Nutcracker performances more than anyone else in the Valley.
That's probably true.
So how many years has SVB been doing the Nutcracker in our region?
Well, SVB, as you may have read, and as Mr. Pedro will talk about, this is our 33rd season, and it's our 32nd Nutcracker.
32nd. That's amazing. I mean, that's amazing in our region. Think of how many people you've affected and entertained, and oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And I know I've been in the audience for at least 20 of those.
Wow.
Maybe a few more than that.
Exactly. And I don't know if you know, Liz, our first Nutcracker when the company started, it was an all-in-hall in Roanoke College. And now we are ready to the Civic Center and now the Berglund Center.
Right, and I feel like I see you all everywhere throughout the year too, but especially with the Nutcracker. What a wonderful annual performance. I look forward to it. It's not just for the kids to enjoy, right? Like I'm not a parent. I just really love the show and I love the dancers. So tell me, in terms of the production for this year, I think some things are a little bit different, I hear.
Yes. This production with our community is not the Nutcracker, because the community, it's the big involvement, not only about the dancers, but the community new members. We audition, the volunteers, and especially the new things you were saying is we have live music.
I'm so excited about this.
And it's called the Orchestra of the Virginia's Blue Ridge. And Dr. Wayne Gallup, chairman of the Radford University, working with us and putting together with professionals. Plus, we have college students and we have students representative of each area from the schools to participate. They said this is a good repertoire for them and for their curriculum and to learn the classical repertoire, play with the orchestra.
That's so wonderful. I can't imagine how excited I would be as a student to be able to participate in such a professional experience.
Yes, and this is good opportunity not only for the dancers, for the musicians too, and
Absolutely.
For the community that never have the opportunity to see the two beautiful art forms together.
Right. Oh, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be gorgeous. Oh, and so, it's been so beloved. I know I mentioned that because we have to go every year. You have to, listeners, you have to. But what is it about it that makes it so beloved? Is it the show? Is it the volunteer experience? A little bit of everything?
It really is a little bit of everything. As wonderful as the experience is when you have a dancer on stage, it's just as magical when you don't know any of them by name. When the curtain goes up, it gives you goosebumps. Mm-hmm. I cannot imagine sitting in that theater, and when the curtain goes up and you see activity start on the stage, that it doesn't give you goosebumps. Mm-hmm. The music, it brings back so many childhood memories for me. Mm-hmm. The opening of a gift, the twinkle in the children's eyes, and they really do connect with the community. And the community, no matter what part of the community they come from, they're just mesmerized by what they see on stage. The sets are just incredibly beautiful. Mm-hmm. The performers are incredibly talented. I mean, it's very entertaining. There's plenty of comedy mixed throughout the Nutcracker, particularly with Mr. Pedro as the choreographer. He makes sure that's woven in there. So there's entertainment for everyone. For me personally, when we do our school outreach performance, which is the Friday of Nutcracker weekend at the Berglund Center, I have goosebumps now thinking about it. It is the most magical day of my year. When you have 2,000 young people from all over Southwest Virginia, from so many of the different school systems, the homeschool community comes out as well, and you have never heard anything like 2,000 school children cheering and clapping, and the excitement it really is. In my opinion, it's always the best show because the performers are directly impacted in the best of ways by these students. And I get chills every time I think of it. And I have the great opportunity, and I hope Pedro will give me that again this year, of going out and greeting the students and talking about what they're going to see on stage. it really is just an incredibly magical experience.
Yeah, sometimes community people coming to see the show, the school show, never had the opportunity to come to see a performance. And we have really grateful people to help that make that happen.
Absolutely.
To bring these kids, like Nancy was saying about the Southwest Virginia Ballet, because it's not only city or county, there are people coming all the way from Martinsville, Montgomery, into all these places.
I didn't think about that, the fact that they're really coming from all over to experience this with
and
you.
already, it's close to people already registered to come because they know about it.
Yeah, we're only a few weeks out,
Yes,
really.
yeah.
And I can tell you it sticks with you. This just hit me while you were talking about it, but I remember seeing the Nutcracker as a little girl. And my invisible best friend was the Nutcracker for a really couple of years because it was so impactful to me to be able to see this little girl dancing on stage and having an amazing time in a fantasy world. I'm kind of curious, as a company parent, what was that experience like? Seeing people your family members, what is that like, seeing them perform on stage like that?
Oh, well, it gives you goosebumps. It makes your heart race. And it doesn't matter whether they're dancing, as a child, as a gingerbread girl, or a soldier, or the Sugar Plum Fairy. I've had all of that. My son participated for a few years. And after one of the shows that he was a soldier in, I heard someone that he didn't know ask him, "Now, how did you like participating? Did you have a good time? What was it like?" And he looked at her with the most serious eyes and said, "There is nothing like dying on stage." And I thought, oh, I am in such trouble. But he happened to be the soldier that dies on stage and gets drug off by the Nutcracker. And my daughter, he danced for a few years, and he always enjoyed going. Of course, the whole family. It was a family experience.
Of course.
And it is for many families. And my daughter danced from the time she was little. I think she was first a soldier, and she danced many of the roles. And when she was a junior and senior in high school, she danced the role of Sugar Plum with Mr. Pedro one time, which was incredibly magical. And she. These students that come through Southwest Virginia Ballet, whether they're a company dancer, whether they're, serious about a dance education, or whether they are extras from the community that come together to participate in the Nutcracker, they learn so much about discipline, about hard work, about working together, about showing up and being there, and knowing that everyone else is depending on them.
Right.
And the work ethic that's developed. Everyone who's had a dancer come through Southwest Virginia Ballet that I'm aware of is very proud of that young person and whoever they've become as an adult. Mine went on to dance at the University of South Carolina, but she ended up in pharmacy school, and now she's a pharmacist in Williamsburg. And there is a story like that with every family that comes through this organization. And the community is so fortunate and so blessed to have Mr. Pedro, the board of directors, the parents that we have, the dancers that we have, the volunteers that we have. It just goes on and on. But it is a magical experience. And I know that there are all kinds of productions out there. I don't believe that there's any organization in all of Southwest Virginia that does it anything like what we do. Because of the collaborative experience. And Mr. Pedro is a genius at collaborations. Every time I think there's no one else or no other organization or no other entity that we can collaborate with, Mr. Pedro comes up with one more. And so, we have dancers and performers who, may have some special challenges. And Mr. Pedro always does his absolute best to incorporate an opportunity for that young person or adult to participate. And that is not everywhere.
Right. That inclusivity is really important.
It is so important. And I'm so proud of that. So it is not it's not a professional company. However, you will experience the very most professional experience and production that you could possibly experience.
Right. And you're building foundation for a
Yes.
lot of things. So Pedro, you and I were talking just before we started about the community members that volunteer their time and efforts. And it's not just about wanting to be a dancer. Of course, that's a beautiful piece of it. But maybe it's sets, maybe it's costume, maybe it's hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yes, it's the experience from when they're kids, because some of them, they're coming as a reindeers, they're coming back as a angels or soldiers, the transition, like what Nancy was saying. But the experience they have, the professional, because the volunteers teaching how to do the makeup or the costume, the sewing, the set, how they put all the stuff together, how the drops coming down, and they're mesmerized because they see that all the theater.
That's not magic.
world.
That's people.
That's people.
doing that.
Yeah.
It seems
And-
like magic on the audience
Absolutely
side.
it does.
And that's
for
what
the
it's supposed to be.
experience, and the experience, they have the experience, and afterwards I see them in high school afterwards, and they're doing something in the theater, and the props or makeups and hair and costume. For me, that is so rewarding because it's like
Absolutely.
arts help them, and because that can be in bad situation or in school, stress relief, but the arts really help them to connect with something they really love to do and with other people, because that's how we're able to do it. That's where the reason I like to collaborate, because I'm teaching them to working together, we make a better place. And that's important. They have that always, because when they go to college or not college or work, you need to work with people, like
Right.
it or not. You need to work with people.
And you're teaching them responsibilities and
Yes.
leadership development and workforce and all that without even hitting them over the head with it,
And
They're
self-esteem,
learning self-esteem, of
yes.
course.
You
Absolutely.
need to be very proud whatever they do.
Absolutely.
Picking up leaves or picking up anything or be the first person, you need to be very proud, because how we're able to make a better production.
Right. And Nancy, I think you hit it on the head. Everybody's role is important, from the tiniest angel to the sugar plum fairy and the Nutcracker. It's not just about the dancers on stage, but every component. I mean, how wonderful is that? That's so fantastic. In talking about your favorite Nutcracker moments over the years, this might be tough because you were just talking about how you have several years of memories on this one.
Yes.
Is there any particular moment or year that sticks out in your mind as something that was really special?
When I did my first Nutcracker here, that was really such a rewarding, because after coming from retirement, dancing for many years and taking this role as artistic director, it was like opening like a Pandora box for me to see what I'm able to create and how I'm able to create with the people I work with and the dancers, what they want to give, because we need to work together to make this magic of the Nutcracker. And that was, I think, so my first to Nutcracker, that was, the experience of to do the audition for the community members.
Right.
Because normally in the professional world, in the professional school, we use the school dancers in the ballet school to come to do the professional production. For here, we need to use the audition for the community, when we started doing it at Tanglewood before, and now we're doing it at ballet school. But that's a wonderful experience for me to have that. That was a magic for me.
Did you ever see yourself as an artistic director growing up, or in your own experience as a dancer?
No, because it's, but the wonderful leadership I had in Richmond Ballet, and she's retiring this year. She's stepping down.
Oh,
as
you got to stay
artistic
here. Sign a
director.
contract right now. You're not allowed to go back to,
But after 40 years, our, Richmond Ballet, the State Ballet of Virginia, Stoner Winslet, she's a big role model for me, and working together with the community and working with any dancers coming from any country. She opened her arms and trying to give them guidance, and that's really stand up on me to work with the community and any part of the to make this wonderful production. Not only these productions, all the productions in the company.
Right. And all the other pieces you do. Actually, we do have a piece on Pedro in our September-October issue, and it shows this great shot. I love this shot of the back of you, and you're observing the stage and talking about all the things that you do in our community. If you don't mind, I'd love to hear, because you're teaching at schools too. This is not
Dance
your...
Español, yes.
This is a huge piece of what you do daily, but then you have all these other components that help make that up.
Yeah, Dance Español is very in my heart, because I love my fourth graders. And this Dance Español was created for the Roanoke City Public Schools. it went to the umbrella from the Minds in Motion program. And I created this program. And I take it not only here in the Roanoke City Public Schools, but I do it in Martinsville and Henry County too as a residence. It's kind of incentive them to working together. Again, we're kind of going back what we're talking about community, how we're able to work together. And the most important is self-esteem and how we're able to use the art form to make a better student and to respect each other. And that is crucial for me, because it's especially learning other language is very important, and especially the ESL, the Spanish learning kids learning English. They're embarrassed to speak Spanish, but I've told them, so why you helping the English kids
speaking more languages is always a good thing.
That's what I told them. I say, Mr. Pedro speak 4 languages, so that it's important to learn other language, and kind of encourage them to be themselves and be ambassador from themselves, not only for their school or their class, for themselves.
Self-esteem.
Self-esteem is so important, and it's so valuable, because that's the next generation in our community, and that is important for me to. If we have a good 4th grader, that person is going to be well done, and I don't care where they live in our point of the city or county. But that's, if we make a better student in that way, and a self-esteem, we can make a better citizen.
Well, as the wife of a middle school teacher, I completely agree with that. Obviously, he would completely support that in talking about self-esteem, and you're creating future leaders, not just of the Roanoke Valley, but certainly of everywhere. So I think that's incredibly important. And in talking about more valuable experiences for our dancers, again, as a company parent, Nancy, you get to see a whole new sort of experience from their perspective. I'm curious about the involvement about dancers and why it's so important and the experience that they're going to have there.
Well, with Southwest Virginia Ballet, they start off younger. They come to the company when they're 10-ish. Occasionally there's someone comes in a little bit older, but rarely much younger than that. And they really do learn to work together. Most of them have had, some dance experience prior to that time, but they come and they have such a strong desire to get to be a stronger dancer, to be able to perform more difficult roles. And so, you see them really mature over these years. I mean, you watch these little kids grow into beautiful dancers, and it's seamless. So as they're learning to do a pirouette, okay, or some more advanced, combination, or something that Pedro or another instructor challenges them on, it's no different than the other things going on in their life. They're learning algebra instead of multiplication.
Right.
And so these young people figure out that if they really give it their all and they do their best, just because we like math doesn't mean that we're going to go on and become a math professor at MIT. A young dancer who really loves ballet or modern or whatever it is that they enjoy, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go on and dance, on a worldwide stage. However, they're going to apply those skills and those traits that they develop as a young person into a young adult, into an adult, an active citizen in the community. And so, you see the ones that work hard, whether it's in this classroom, in the dance studio, at some other organization that they're interested in that maybe their family participates in, or, a church youth group. I mean, any of those things. And the kids that figure out that if they apply themselves and they work hard and they give it all they can, they find those successes, and then they learn, that that's what it takes to be successful. And I just think it applies across the board. These young people that I experience, and I've been around Southwest Virginia Ballet since before Pedro came to the Valley. I have felt like, as a parent and a volunteer, and certainly since I've been involved as a board member and an executive director and all of those things, that part of our role as an organization is to help raise the next generation of arts supporters and arts educators, and exposing these young people to all of the many careers that are related to the arts, whether it's performing arts, the visual arts, any of them, because our world really wouldn't be a very beautiful place if it wasn't for the arts.
Well said.
So,
well said.
and we need them to be, productive citizens, and we need to make sure that they come back and that they're the next generation of ticket buyers as well.
Exactly. It all
So,
leads to. Well, that's so,
Given my executive director past experience and now board president, for the second go around, many years ago and now again now, I mean, it is important. And so, I'm straight up. I think we have hands down the best Nutcracker experience for anyone, whether it's someone on the stage or someone in the audience. I think our experience is the best for every reason.
Or behind the scenes, because
Yes.
we have volunteers behind the scenes, and the stage crew, the stage hand, because, it's union. And these unions, like, we have people already from 17 years when the first time I started, they're still there. And they did it before my time, too. So you can imagine how many years.
there has to be so much passion in the people who, I mean, anybody from day one, but for somebody who's been there for so long to
And they make
be
sure
part of that.
and they want to be in that, because
Right.
they need to have their time, because, it's Nutcracker time. We'll be there.
Right.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
I think it's so beautiful that you noted that some of these kids, you know them from 4th grade until they're a full-grown adult living back here in Virginia's Blue Ridge, hopefully buying the
Absolutely.
tickets and
That's
maybe
right.
putting their own kids in the program.
That's right. That's
I mean,
right.
that's so wonderful that you get to be part of students' lives for such a long portion of time and really see them grow.
Yeah.
That's just really
And now they're
wonderful.
bringing their family in with kids.
I mean, without making you feel old, right? But what a beautiful experience to be
Yes.
able to say. And it's not a lot of communities that are lucky enough to say something like that. So
Yeah.
it's really wonderful. So I have one more bonus question for you, actually, and it's the fun one. It's about where you go, eat, and play in our region. So I don't know who wants to go first, but where are you eating? Where are you going? Where are you recommending to hang out? When you're not at the Nutcracker, of course, by the way.
Oh, well, I have several favorite places that I like to go.
All right, where are we going?
Well, if I was going to dinner, I really enjoy Tizones out in Daleville, out at the town center. They have wonderful things on their menu, and they have a great wine selection, and I enjoy that from time to time. And the atmosphere is really nice. It's casual but comfortable.
Still feels a little fancy.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to sit at one of the little high-top tables.
Yeah.
And enjoy, my husband's company.
Yeah,
after
absolutely.
a long day.
With a nice
So-
glass of wine.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How about you? Where are you going, playing, eating?
Plain eating, AB's Bistro. Yeah, 4th Street, because I like sweet.
Yeah, me too.
And so that's dangerous.
Cake is always a good option.
Yes.
You know you can
after
have
a
cake
nice
for dinner. Nobody will stop you.
Exactly.
Man, nobody told me that growing up.
Yeah, so that's for me, that's a good place. But I have, I'm a morning person,
too.
and sometimes before I go, sometimes to teach when I have a break, I go to breadcraft.
That's a good one.
That is dangerous for me, bread and
And
sweet.
Chris's over
And
near
Chris Coffee Shop,
Yes.
for ice cream in the
Yes.
afternoon.
I like their full
you know.
frappuccinos. Those are always delicious.
No, Mama's Boy is the best. Yes, I get in trouble if I don't get Mama's Boy from Chris. Yes.
Perfect. So now that listeners are in the holiday spirit, ready to see the Nutcracker, let's learn more about where to see the performance. Can you tell us about how to buy tickets, how to get involved, anything like that they need to know?
Well, it's at the Berglund Center, and tickets are available on box office website. Of course, you can look up Southwest Virginia Ballet on the internet, and there's lots of information there about the dates, the times of the shows, all of that. Mr. Pedro, can you add
Yes,
some more to
and two, if there's any school, if they're interested to come, make sure they info at svballet.org, and
Okay.
they can make sure they register early.
Great
because
opportunity.
It's great opportunity to bring their school on Friday morning.
Perfect.
Yes, and make sure you get to tickets early, because I heard people,
Yes.
already purchasing.
Yep, we're already
And,
talking about it.
Yes, and Junior League is a great PR for us this year, because we are part of the Junior League too for the stock market.
I love going to the stock market. Last year, I sat right on the front row, like every show, because I had to see the tutus and the reindeer. They were so cute.
Yes, and they're co-promoting the Nutcracker with us. So that's very, very nice.
I chased your ballet dancers down for a photo last year. I remember specifically at the stock market. I was like, here, stand by my cover. Look at this beautiful.
Well, and also if you are affiliated with a particular group from the area, you know, the Berglund Center and Southwest Virginia Ballet will work with you on group ticket sales as well. So, and that's a nice opportunity if you have a group that wants to get together to come.
That will be a nice gift for your employees.
Yeah,
to
that's a good
bring
idea too.
Their employees to the Nutcracker and their families.
Yes, and of course date night to hear your live music with the beautiful performance.
Yes.
I'm really excited about that part. Like,
I'm
it's always
excited
wonderful,
too,
but a
yes.
whole new component is very
And
exciting.
the Batatat Academy, the chorus is going to be singing too.
Perfect.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, collaboration, of
Yes.
course, because you
Mr.
brought in
Pedro.
everyone.
I think we should
love it.
change his name to
No.
Mr. Collaboration.
I love it. Well, that'll be your middle
For
name then.
Mr.
How about
Pedro.
that? Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Pedro and Nancy, for being on our show today. We really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see the Nutcracker on stage this season. I'm so excited.
We look forward to having you.
Thank you.
And I will extend a special invitation without asking Mr. Pedro in advance. But if you would like to come and experience what the biggest thrill of the season is, to hear those kids during the school outreach performance, and you could help me teach them how to clap, and could help me, you know, perform a couple of steps, you know, what things to watch for, you know, what the dancers do to communicate, because there are no spoken words. There's some singing, but that's not conveying the story of the Nutcracker. So everything is done through movement and music. And so we talk a little bit about that on stage. But whether you would just come and enjoy it from the audience perspective, but I think that someone who experiences the kinds of things that you do would be really, I mean, you'll never forget it. You'll never forget what it's like to see those children out there. And so many of them would never have a chance to be in a seat at the Berglund Center to experience the Nutcracker or any other production for that matter. So it's just such an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So I invite you to join me.
Thank you. It makes me really proud to have
Yep.
such opportunities for kids and people in general who want to be part of this into the
Yes.
area. Wonderful for you to include them. Inclusivity is so important with our arts and culture in our region. Thank you again so much for being on our show today. You can learn more about Pedro and his incredible background and work throughout the region in our latest Do You Know column, found in our latest issue or at theroanoker.com. And again, that was Pedro Szalay and Nancy Kelderhouse. Thank you again for your time today and sharing more about the incredible performances that we all know and love so much. Thank you for being on the show. And if you'd like to get tickets to the upcoming season of incredible shows or learn more about how to dance, volunteer, donate, and more, you can visit svballet.org to find out how.